And good evening, basketball fans, and Happy New Year. Welcome to the Upstate Hoops Podcast on FingerLakes1.tv. I'm Jim Sinacropi here inside the FingerLakes1.com studios, downtown Seneca Falls, live on Sunday, January 1st, 2017. So the holidays are almost behind us. I think there's no school tomorrow on January 2nd. But things pick up Tuesday. And then next thing you know, it's going to be February, and then it's sectional time. So we're not quite at the midpoint of the season, but we're about a week away from officially being at the midpoint of the season. So we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to recap 2 weeks of action because we were off last week on Christmas. And so we're going to quickly run through those scores. We're going to give you our updated power rankings, our updated Girls Super 6. We're going to hear interviews with Kellen Carher of Minders and Jillian Panic, 9th grader at Waterloo. What else? We're going to look at sectionals for the first time. We're going to look at sectional standings in each class for the first time this year. And then we're going to also take a look at the week ahead, and it's chock full of games, big games, big games. We've also taken, it'll be about 2 weeks off from our live streaming of basketball games, but we'll be back on Friday night, January 6th, and we'll be in Geneva for Palmac Geneva. Geneva kind of on the upswing, Palmac kind of falling apart here, but plenty of time to right the ship. We'll talk all about that tonight. The Upstate Hoops Podcast and all of our coverage of Wayne Finger Lakes High School basketball is brought to you thanks to the support of Generations Bank, with locations in Auburn, Farmington, Geneva, Phelps, Seneca Falls, Union Springs, and Waterloo. They're online at mygenbank.com. And by Therascar. Learn more about Therascar's benefits at 5starmedicalcorp.com. And by Dr. Rodney Littlejohn, delivering over 30 years of smiles with styles. So, we're going to rewind here back to December 20th. And that was a Tuesday night. Geneva took on Mid-Lakes. And now, for those of us that follow the games nightly, this seems like ancient history now. But Geneva comes out of there with a 55-54 win. And handed Mid-Lakes their first loss of the season. And I guess there was a clock malfunction that game where the clock didn't start. Basically 4 seconds, ended up being like 8 seconds. But Brian Miller's Geneva squad goes into Mid-Lakes and gets a win. This reminds me a little bit of last year. Mid-Lakes got off to a hot start, some big early season wins, undefeated. They didn't play a factor in the East coming down the stretch. They did almost knock off eventual sectional champ Newark in the quarterfinals of Class B. Class B won last year, but dropping that game at home to Geneva kind of puts you behind the 8 ball when you're trying to stay up top of the standings with Minders and Newark and Wayne. Also on last Tuesday night, Palmac went to Newark. Newark came out of there with a 12-point win. Big game for the big treat. Taylor Clements, 33 points, 15 rebounds, 4 block shots. Brian Sharp also dropped in 5 3-pointers. And, that was a rematch of the Class B1 final at the Blue Cross Arena last year. And Newark really needed the win as much as Palmac at the time. Off to a slow start record-wise, really playing some tough teams, though, tough competition. But big win in league for Newark. The Wayne Eagles went to Penn Yan and took home a 55-41 win. Logan Blankenberg led the way with 19. Naples, in West action, went to Dundee and got throttled. The score of that one was 64-48. And that was kind of shocking because Dundee had suffered a few surprising losses, and it looked like it might be Naples and Marcus Whitman in the West. Maybe Bloomfield, Red Jacket, we thought early, but they haven't looked so good. But Naples didn't look too good at Dundee. Bobby Strait had 21. Wiley Hall had 23 for Les Miller-Scots, who moved to 5-2. 5-2, Zach Dormer had 23. Speaking of Red Jacket and things not going so good, they went to Romulus two Tuesday nights ago. They lost 58-49 to the Warriors, the Romulus Warriors. Kyle Bennett had 12 points. Mauricio Mercedes Rivera had 11. And they held Dan Brown to just 12 points for Red Jackets. So Romulus gets their second win of the season, and Joe Peisnack is doing a pretty good job there reviving that program. South Seneca took on Honeoye in Honeoye. Honeoye 63, South Seneca 55 is your final there. Cole Loomis had 16, along with John Marble with 16, and Max Yale with 16. So all three guys with 16 points. And Devin Rogers had 14 for the Falcons. Moving ahead to the 21st of December, another real surprising result. Just when you think you got things figured out in Wayne County, and it looks like it's going to be Clyde in ER. After ER really beat Lions handily. Looked like just a two-man race, and that still might be the case, but Soda's got a home win against the Bombers, 56-50. A big 6-point win. Malik Burton with 16 points and 12 rebounds. Anthony Caruana had 13 points and 8 rebounds. Danny Johnson had 11 points, 8 assists. ER trailed 30-16 at halftime, so off to a slow start, and then couldn't come back. The Soda Spartans close out the win. And North Rose Wolcott beat Marion 38-34. Now you're like, 38? Tyler Norris scores almost 38 on his own. But he was out. He had a little foot injury. He was nursing. So kudos to the Cougars. And we'll talk a little bit more about that squad later in the show. But they pull out that 4-point win at home against Marion. Now, without Tyler Morris, it was Reese Morris, not Norris. Reese Morris with 13 points, 10 rebounds. Nathan Sanford, 10 points and 14 rebounds. Gananda held serve at home against Williamson, 70-52. 29 points for Enrique Mossman in that one. Enrique Mossman. And then we were in... Actually, I got to go back. I missed a game on Tuesday. That was Waterloo Minders, the girls-boys doubleheader. And Minders got the win, but it wasn't as easy as you might have thought. 58-45, Blue Devils win to stay undefeated. That win moved them to 10-0. Jake Means had 20 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists. Jake Jones had 13 points, 4 rebounds. But they left Ransom Benedict's open all night. He had 23 points, mostly on 3 balls. And Daquan Kingston had 9 points and 8 rebounds in that loss, which Waterloo was in that game into the second half. So after that game, we talked to Kellen Caraher, junior guard for Minders. We're going to play that interview right now when we get back. From that, we'll continue on with the scores, starting out with Lions and Clyde, who faced off in Clyde. But here's Minders junior forward Kellen Caraher after their win in Waterloo back on December 20th.
But outmanned Waterloo squad, earning the split. Happy to have one of the starters and key performers tonight, Kellen Caraher, with us. And Kellen, congratulations. It was pretty tough. Less than 2 minutes to go in the first half. It was a 2-point ball game, and then you guys got that nice spurt to finish off the first half. Was that a pretty big momentum switch, you think, at that time?
Yeah, we just had to control the ball, and we weren't really passing it around in the first half. And, once we got it going and moved the ball, we played our game.
Now, Minders, very unselfish team, even though you'll see some big point nights for certain kids. They do shoot it well, but you're probably the one kid on the team that looks maybe for other stuff to do, and I think that's very important on a team like you have, that somebody's got to be out there kind of distributing. The only time I saw you guys make a good play in the fourth quarter, other than last possession, you caught the ball on the wing, took a couple dribbles, walked away from everything, where everybody else would have just fired it up, and that kind of is what makes you guys good, is those guys firing it up. But you need a little bit of a general out there. You take a little pride in the dimes rather than the points?
Yeah, it's not all about scoring, moving the ball, hustling. That's what you got to do to win.
Yeah, and you've certainly done that over the years. You might not see Kellen's name in the box score for 15, 18, 20, but, he's kind of the glue that holds it together, and you did a good job again with that tonight. Were you surprised it was this close?
Yeah, we didn't really play our game tonight. We had no energy. Came out a little rough, and, we still ended up winning by 13. So, playing horrible like we did, it's still good.
Yeah,
so you're not satisfied with the performance of the team. And of course, Ransom Benedict's made things interesting because he was on fire.
Yeah, he was. Props to him.
The zone seemed to afford him multiple opportunities to hit those threes.
Yeah, sometimes we don't close out very well, and, that showed tonight. He shot the lights out.
So what do you think going forward, Kellen?
We just got to keep our heads in the game 24/7, and, then we play our game like we did against Newark and Wayne, then we can be good.
What did you talk about the zone at any time as a group in timeout to say maybe we should keep an eye on Benedict's? It seemed like he was just floating around to wide open all night, or switch to man-to-man. You played a lot more zone than you did man. Any talk about that at halftime or timeouts?
We talked about it, but we just lose our heads sometimes, and we don't really think about things, and that showed tonight.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, Kevin, I brought these out, a blast from the past. Do you have a driver's license?
I don't.
Not yet, or
No.
maybe your folks.
The only place he drives is to the basket.
These are vintage. These are years gone by bumper stickers. If you'd like one, we're going to give that to you for your performance tonight and wish you well the rest of the season.
Callan, this is the most important one right here. That says state champs. Okay, that's the best one right there. It hasn't happened in Seneca Falls since '92. The only time it's ever happened. Don't forget that. So with that being said, real quick, goals for the season. What's your team goals?
Just play our game. Keep our heads in it, and who knows where we could go.
Have you ever won a league title?
No.
Is that a goal?
Yeah, for sure.
Have you ever won a sectional title?
No.
Is that a goal?
For sure.
You have the opportunity to bring home two more than your brother, or one more than your brother, right? You can tie him and then pass it. How many's he got?
I'll tie him. He has two.
He has two?
Actually, I think he has one.
Yeah, I think he has
one.
It is
one, yeah.
I don't even know if he scored in that finals game either. A little trivia question. You can find that out for me tonight. Will you tell him to text me? Let me know.
All right, Kellen. Thanks so much for joining us. We're going to wrap things up here. The leading scorers in the contest for Minders, they had three in double figures, led by Jake Means, 20 points.
So there you go. That was Colin Kerr for Minders, and they talk about Kevin talked about him being the glue on a team with a lot of guys who can put the basketball in the basket, and he's out there most of the game and handling the ball. He's a great ball handler. Take a lot of pressure off of Brett Anderson. Good passer. He can hit the open shot. He's always going 100% out there, playing solid defense. So we had him on the post-game show, and it was great getting to talk to him. Now, 2 days later, we had another varsity doubleheader. It was a girls-boys doubleheader. It was in Clyde, and one of the best atmospheres in all of area high school basketball is Lions Clyde, and whether it's in Clyde or Lions. This one was in Clyde, and it was a packed house, intense atmosphere. Unfortunately, Lions sophomore point guard Justice Smith was out for the game, 1 game suspension. That kind of dampened the spirits, but still thought Lions might be able to hang in there. But we were wrong. It was all Clyde. Ended up 60-39. Lions stayed in there early. And but in the end, it was Derek Chance was very impressive with 19 points on the night. And, Derek was so quick to get to the basket. And then when he gets there, soft, off the glass, and converts. So Derek Chance had a great game, and Clyde beats the rival. So with Lions now with 2 league losses, ER with another loss, it's Clyde's in control of their own destiny as far as the league goes. A lot of games to play, though. A lot of games in Wayne County. Wayne County's always interesting. You can never figure it out in December. So I also have to apologize to Derek Chance. He was our guest on Dr. Rod Littlejohn post-game show, and was a great interview. Those of you who were watching live got to see it, but unfortunately the final recorded version that's posted on demand ends before that interview. So we do so many games, 30 games this year. Every now and then we screw up. So I got to apologize to Derek Chance. Hopefully we'll get him back on. We have Clyde a few more times. We have him at Lions in a game that's going to be at the Community Center on February 2nd. The Lions Community Center, not the Atwood. And then I believe we have Clyde again when ER comes to Clyde late in the season. I think that's also a February date. So moving on here. We're on Thursday, December 22nd. Bloomfield went to the Jack Guyon Arena, wins 54-44 over South Seneca. Bryce Beechler was 16. Patrick Geithner had 4 threes, finished with 19. And Marcus Whitman hosted Red Jacket, won fairly easily, 65-46. Gavin McComiskey, 23 points, 10 rebounds. So a big game for the big fella. And Daniel Brown had 18. Romulus went to Naples. Naples wins that one 72-55. And then Mid-Lakes hosted Geneseo. Non-league game, but coming off that Geneva loss, we're going to get to see if Mid-Lakes could bounce back. And they drop a 1-point decision at home. It was a putback off a miss by Kyle Rollins for Geneseo at the buzzer to hand Mid-Lakes their second straight loss. Bryce Burry had 26 points. Darren Carswell and Dan Van Ostrand had 11 each in that loss. Penn Yan hosted Wellsville, back-to-back sectional champs, Wellsville. Wellsville might not be a sectional contender this year, but we'll see in mid-February. Penn Yan 64, Wellsville 51. Desmond Batten with 17 points, Ben Emerson with 16, and Dylan Stape with 12. The second time Penn Yan beat Wellsville this year. They went down to Wellsville earlier in the season. Prattsburg beat Honeoye 59-51 in a game that was played in Prattsburg. Honeoye gave up 30 points to Mason Putnam. John Marble led the way with 19 for the Bulldogs. And then the Wayne Eagles, trying not to be clipped by those Sodus Spartans that clipped East Rochester. They hosted Sodus and won 60-35, 25-point win. Braden Zenilovic, 16 points, 9 rebounds. Logan Blankenberg, 14 points. Nick Carmichael, that's the name you're going to have to keep an eye out for. He's the X factor for this Eagles team. 14 points, 9 rebounds, 5 blocks. Red Jacket was in Hannibal on we're jumping over Christmas here. It's December 27th. A lot of holiday tournaments this past week. And Red Jacket was in Hannibal. They get the win, 62-46. Let's see. There was a tournament in Jasper Troutsburg. The host JT beat HAC 56-46. Williamson picked up a win against Cato Meridian out of Section 3, 69-64. Nigel Cobbs had 20 points for Williamson for the Marauders, four three-pointers. Edwin Wynn had 16 points, and Connor Garrett had 15, 5 three-pointers. Red Jacket beat Marion 71-58. Travis Liberty and Danny Brown had 21 points each in the win. And then HAC, looking for the first win of the year, played Hammondsport down there in Jasper Troutsburg. And Hammondsport ends up winning by 1. Xavier Israel had 18 points for HAC in the loss. Red Jacket played Williamson next day of the tournament, won 47-36. This was a tournament they hosted. Daniel Brown with 16 points on that game in that win. And Edwin Wynn had 13 points for Williamson. Marion played Cato Meridian, won 65-62. Marion trailed by 9 at the half. Now Marion was winless too. Going back to last year, I don't think they won a game all last year. So big win for Marion against Cato Meridian. Trailed by 9 at the half. Rodney DeLizer had 20. Chris Dobby had 13, and Jake Fiacco had 13. as Marion moves to 1-9, so the Black Knights get on the board. Oh boy, Pal Mac. Dan Brown really's lined up a tough schedule for him this year. Early, they played Northeast Douglas College Prep and lost 72-56. Brandon Hawkins had 17. Wayne hosted a tournament during the holiday break. They picked up a 61-48 win over Greece Olympia. 18 points from Blankenberg, 16 from Zenilovic. So Wayne keeps winning games, climbing up the power rankings. We'll see where they stand later in the show. Mount Morris played Naples for a second time this season, and they beat them for a second time this season. This time in Naples, 72-52. Zach Dormer had 18. Waterloo, this team Waterloo that lost by 13 to Minders. They come back in their next game. They go to North Rose Wolcott. North Rose Wolcott gets a 67-47 win, a 20-point win. Tyler Norris had 35 points and 8 rebounds. Reese Morris had 13 points and 7 rebounds. As Naples improves to 4-2. Now I'm going to talk for just a second here about North Rose Wolcott and Tyler Norris. How great a player is Tyler Norris that you can already see that the other players around him have gotten better. I mean, he's a beast every single night. 30-something points, 12, 14, 15 rebounds, some assists, some blocks, some steals. I mean, he's doing it all. And really has to with a young team after losing all his players from the sectional championship game past 2 years. He's the only one left. So they're bringing up a lot of young guys. And kudos to head coach Paul McIntyre, first-year head coach, and to Tyler Norris and the rest of the Cougars. They're 4-2. And a lot of times here on this podcast and some of the discussions we do during our streams, live streams of games, we kind of assume things. So you assume North Rose is going to be down this year. But I think they have yet to play Clyde. Either way, we'll let it play out on the court. North Rose Wolcott playing great. It's good to see. We'll have North Rose Wolcott at home against Red Creek on the final day of the regular season. So it'll be senior night for Tyler Norris and the final regular season game also for Nick Klein at Red Creek in a huge rivalry game. That North Rose Red Creek game, big rivalry, should be a fun night. On Valentine's night, I think that is February 14th. So December 29th, now moving ahead here to this would be Thursday's games. Palmac plays Wayne in the Wayne tournament, but this was a league game. We didn't think it was at first, but found out it was, in fact, a Finger Lakes East game, making it that much more important for both teams, but for Palmac especially. They just keep dropping behind the leaders in the East. And Wayne won easy, 69-48. Logan Blankenberg, 21 points, 10 of 10 free throws. Zenilovic had 13. Helgado had 13. Billy Thompson had 12. Hawkins and Wright, 13 each for Palmac. And so you got Hawkins, Wright, and Vanderbilt for Palmac, the three guards. They're all great players. But I think that Devon McLean is just a big loss. Even Dominic Sutberry, they're missing anything inside. They're all guard-oriented. It's playing tough competition in league and out of league. And, it's hard to believe what a difference having Devon McLean on the roster can make. Maybe we underrated his value a little bit, but I'm not ready to give up on Palmac just yet. That Hawkins-Wright-Vanderbilt combo has got to be one of the best in all the Wayne Finger Lakes. So we'll see if Dan Harris's squad can right the ship. Mid-Lakes hosted Bath Haverling. 75-59, so the Screaming Eagles snapped their 2-game skid. John Salati had 17 points. Burry had 15. Sean Tillman had 13, including 3 3-pointers. Newark in the I-90 tournament out in Buffalo, along with Clyde. And to me, this is the story of Christmas break. This Newark and Clyde. They go west, play some tough competition in Buffalo. Newark wins big, 74-33 over CSAT out of Section 6. Brian Sharp, 13. Nate Beard, 12 points, 5 steals, 4 assists. DeAndre Saunders, 12 points and 8 rebounds. And then the next night, they play East Aurora, who is a 6th-ranked team in New York State Class, I want to say B. If I heard it was C. Somebody told me it was C. I thought I checked and it was B. But either way, they're a state-ranked school. And Newark comes out with a fairly easy 8-point victory. They controlled it most of the way. Nate Beard had 13 points, 7 steals, and 4 rebounds. And with Newark's slow start record-wise, and really the fact that Minders kind of beat them fairly easily by the time the fourth quarter rolled around in their game. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, we're looking at the team and we're saying, geez, Nate Beard's not transitioning too well to the point guard. You know, you had Tyler Collins and then Jose Santel followed him, and now Nate Beard's expected to follow Santel. And he's starting to come into the role. Nice win for Newark. Great defensive performance. I think East Aurora only scored 19 points from the field. The rest were free throws, and it was a real physical game. There was 4 flagrant fouls. But that's Newark basketball. 44 points on a state. They held a state-ranked team to 44 points. Now, Clyde, Savannah had to play Buffalo East. And big-time test for Clyde. Buffalo East has a kid named Willard Anderson, and he had 36 points, 8 3-pointers, 20 of those in the fourth quarter to erase a Clyde-Savannah lead. So this game ended crazily. With about 10 seconds left in the game, Anderson hits a 3-pointer. So the lead's down to he scored. Yeah, geez, you know what? Maybe I should look it up and refresh my memory. Carnivale goes to the line with 4 seconds left, up 2, hits both of the free throws, 4-point lead. Willard Anderson comes back the other way, shoots a corner 3 and is fouled and makes it, and then misses a free throw to tie the game. 68-67, Clyde-Savannah holds on for the win. And we saw Clyde play Minders at NYCC over Thanksgiving break, and I would love to see him play again right now. I think Clyde's playing a lot better. I think Minders is playing better as well. I wouldn't use that Waterloo game necessarily as an indication, but I would like to see those two teams play again. Now, I think Clyde's starting to pick it up a little bit. So there's all your action through the holiday break, from the week before Christmas through this week, and that essentially is a scaled back schedule over the past 7-10 days. Coming up here in January, things are really going to pick up, and we're going to go through all the upcoming games shortly. But first, I got to give you our power rankings in Girls Super 6. Now, we updated them last week on Christmas Day, even though we didn't do a podcast. So this is our Week 7 edition of the power rankings, and I'm going to pull those up right there. You have Minders holding on at number 1. Really, actually, I'll make this easy for you. There's no changes, except for at the bottom, where the North Rose Wolcott Cougars and Tyler Norris slide into 10 as Pelmac drops out. You know, we can argue, too, about if Palmac played North Rose Wolcott. You'd think Palmac might be favored, but, I mean, Wayne really handed it to him, the Red Raiders. And, I think they're 2-6 right now, Palmac. Let me double check that. Yeah, the Palmac's 2-6. And so they were preseason number 4, I believe, in our power rankings, maybe 3. They've dropped out this week. North Rose Wolcott and Geneva slide in. Geneva slid in there last week up to number 9. But the Cougars, so looking at the breakdown there, we have 4 Wayne County teams, 1 Finger Lakes West team and Marcus Whitman at 7, and 5 Finger Lakes East teams. And could you even fathom that at this point that Palmac's not in that top 10 power rankings? We'll see if they can climb their way back in. We'll see who they got coming up in just a minute. So there you go. North Rose 10, Geneva 9, Lions 8, Marcus Whitman 7, Mid-Lakes at 6. Again, Mid-Lakes lost to Geneva at home by 1, and then lost to Geneseo. But Lions lost to Clyde. Whitman is surging. Whitman's surging since their opening 2 losses. Nobody's beat them. East Rochester at 5. Wayne at 4. Wayne, Newark, Clyde, Savannah, Minders. 4-3-2-1. And I think that there is a clear delineation in the top 4. I think you could almost make tiers if you were doing a fantasy draft. Tier 1 would be Minders, Clyde, Newark, and Wayne. And I am willing to put Wayne up there in that top tier. Is a real contender for Newark and Minders. And also at this time, I think Clyde is the only team anywhere else in the Wayne Finger Lakes that can play with any of those 3. Then you got the next tier, East Rochester, Mid-Lakes, Whitman, and Lions. I think I'd cut it there. Geneva's knocking on that door. And then after that, I'm telling you, North Rose is in 10, but you could make an argument for a lot of teams. Again, if you're going with the eye test or looking at the record, Geneva, or North Rose Wolcott, Penn Yan, even Sodus, could make arguments. Naples, Bloomfield. There's a lot of mix-up once you get down to the bottom of those power rankings. So we'll see how North Rose Wolcott does this week. Now let's take a look at the girls' Super 6 for the week. And the Lady Falcons hold on at number 1. Gananda at 2. Romulus at 3. Minders at 4. Minders lost to the Waterloo girls. Minders would be number 2 in these rankings, still behind South Seneca, had they won that game against Waterloo. But kudos to the Lady Indians. Palmac at 5 and Penn Yan at 6. And speaking of the Lady Indians, after that win, we talked to a 9th grader, Jillian Panic. She's a daughter of Waterloo AD Jeff Panic. But impressive player, nice young lady, came up in the booth as our player of the game and talked to Dave Barnick and Kevin Korzaneski. We'll play that for you right now.
Welcome back to Waterloo.
Yeah,
High School.
40 to 33, I think was the final score, if I got that right.
Yeah, you did. 43-3.
Boy, 33 points. It was a low-scoring affair. Lots of turnovers and cold shooting, but the opportunities, obviously, Waterloo converted on more of them than Minders, and they were considered probably by most people as not a huge underdog, but probably a double-digit underdog.
I'd say 10-point underdog. Yeah. I didn't expect Minders coming in here and blow them out. Waterloo's got talent, but I am really surprised, and I've said it before, that they did pull off the win. The thing that I know who's happy is Tim Lincoln, because his team just executed so beautifully on the defensive end, and he's always took a lot of pride in that defense with his teams, and tonight was no exception. He's got the girls back and back playing meaningful ball.
And a win like this can do so much for the confidence, the ego of a team.
Absolutely.
The fragile egos that everybody has, but especially young kids. Let me quickly run down the scoring. We're hoping to get an interview.
Jillian's coming in right now, Dave. Hold on that scoring. And
by
we'll
the
get her
time
in
she
here.
gets here, I can.
Here she is. So, and if you want to go over the scoring, and one of the reasons why we decided to have Jillian up here tonight was, we talked about no one really scoring a lot of points. Logan Castiglione led all scorers with 11, but Brie Burkett had 8, and that was it. There's not a lot of scoring. In Jillian's up here. Hi, Jillian.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
We have Jillian up here because she anchored that defense for Waterloo tonight, and really they had to have a great defensive effort. And I talked about it at the beginning of the show. You were in charge of Heidi Miller.
Yeah.
And that's a tall task. Probably, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the best player maybe you've seen all year.
She's a wonderful player, and I look up to her as a role model. She's very, very good, very aggressive, knows the game very well.
And a good sport,
Yes.
So sometimes when you play against kids that are better than you, if you don't like them, you don't really look up to them. So you do have the respect there for her, which is nice because Heidi is a good sport. But what was the game plan tonight on your defensive assignment?
Just pretty much to not let her score, box her out.
Deny the ball as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, what is a win like this going to mean to you and the team, you think, as you have a tough early start this season, and this is a big win?
I feel like it really geared us to further on have some wins and make us work really harder and give us a chance at a good season.
And Logan, I thought, played a tremendous game.
She did.
For you. It was a team effort, a lot of not very hot shooting by either squad, and then you guys pulled away at the end. I'm impressed how relaxed your father appears during the game, because I know what that's like from both ends. And I used to say that Joe Spazzato would push the panic button, so now I guess Tim Lincoln can push the panic button when he needs help.
You play more like your dad than your Uncle Jim, though. I don't know if that's a good thing. Once you get Uncle Jim's jump shot, you'll be the complete panic.
You mean she actually passes the ball?
Yeah, that's right. Well, she plays hard like her father, But
both great players.
You played a good game. This game gives you a lot of confidence. Did you think inside? You're thinking about the game today, maybe last night. Did you deep down think we're going to beat this team, or we can beat this team? We're going to have a great. What were your thoughts going into the game?
Just that if we played to our full ability, that we can beat this team. I think we were all nervous because it was Minders rivalry, but definitely going in, we want to win. Definitely helped.
Are you nervous right now?
Yeah.
Well, let me say this, and this is, I consider this to be an ultimate compliment. You don't play like a freshman, Jillian, and it'll just get nothing but better for you, I'm sure, with the good work ethic that I'm positive that you have instilled, no doubt, by your parents and the coaches, and great effort by you and the team.
Now, I got a question for you. Your dad's listed as an assistant coach on the roster. Is he assistant coach, or did he just slide that in because he's the athletic director? Does he come help out at all?
Yeah.
Oh, he does. So he comes out behind, just sit on the bench, but he maybe comes into practice once in a while, helps out coach.
He looks pretty psyched right now as we're watching him do the meet and greet along the
two guys are going to
sideline.
be real happy tonight. One Jeff Panic, one Tim Lincoln.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been a long time, Jillian. I know you played varsity last year, but Waterloo hasn't had a significant win probably in 4 or 5 years on the girls' end, and Coach Lincoln used to have a pretty good program here. So I think this is a step in the right direction. Like you said, it's going to give you a little confidence going into your next few games. When's the next game? Do you know off the top of your head?
Next week.
Spencerport, is that a Christmas tournament, holiday tournament? It's Spencerport and Brighton, I see.
Yeah.
On the 28th and 29th, and then you're getting all over Section 5.
Yeah.
But it'll be home here, Avon, and then Newark and Penn Yan as the Finger Lakes league schedule resumes. Okay.
All right. Well, hey.
We appreciate you joining us. Congratulations to you and your teammates on a fabulous win, hard-fought victory, and keep it going positive.
Yeah, great defensive effort. Great job on the glass. You really got a lot of rebounds tonight for a ninth grader. That's tough to really assert yourself, and you did a good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulate your teammates and have a great holiday season. And we'll be right back.
All right, thanks, Jillian.
So there you go. Yeah, she's just in 9th grade. It's fun to see how some of the kids will react, when you get them up there. And she was a cool customer, no doubt. Looking ahead here now, as we get back into the swing of things at the upcoming schedule. Tuesday night. How about this one? Just spent a lot of time touting the North Rose Wolcott Cougars. They got to go to the Atwood and play Lions. One nice thing about doing these power rankings that we do, as you can see them on there, is you can kind of easier pick out some of the bigger games. And I'm looking forward to this one. Justice Smith returns to the lineup for the Lions. And big game for both teams, man. If North Rose Wolcott can pull off that win on the road and move to 5-2. So we'll see how I heard Zach Young might put 3 guys on Tyler Norris. We'll have to see. So that's not the only big game in Wayne County Tuesday night. Clyde and ER. Easiest way for ER to wipe the memory of that SOTUS loss would be to win this game at home against Clyde. If they do, they're right back into things. You don't want to lose this game, fall too behind Clyde, having to go back to Clyde next time they play. So, and Clyde's riding high. They're riding high. They beat Lions and got a nice win against Buffalo East. And now it's back to league play. Also, Williamson at Hannibal, Penn Yan at Waco, Romulus at Bradford, SOTUS at Red Creek. A lot of crossovers here. World of Inquiry at Waterloo, and then a Wayne County game between Gananda and Marion. Wednesday night, the West is back in action. Honeoye at HAC, South Seneca at Red Jacket, Dundee at Romulus, and Naples at Bloomfield. In a pretty significant game in the West. One of those teams is going to have to step up and challenge Whitman. Moving ahead to the second half of the week. You can see there that we've got Lions at Gananda. Another test for the Lions. Another opportunity for Gananda. And then East Rochester, after hosting Clyde, has to go to North Rose Wolcott. And again, we're going to learn a lot about the Cougars, and we're going to learn a lot about the East Rochester Bombers and the Lions this week. By Thursday night, we'll know so much more than we know right now. Marion at Williamson, Red Creek at Clyde Savannah, and then Friday night, big one in the East. Mid-Lakes travels to Wayne, and after that loss to Geneva, Mid-Lakes really needs this game if they're going to contend for the Finger Lakes East. You can't fall 2 games behind teams like Newark and Wayne and Minders. And I just bring that up because Bryce Burry said they were going to win the East this year. And for Wayne, it's a chance to keep pace. We'll be in Geneva for Palmac at Geneva. Should be a pretty good ball game here. Big opportunity for both teams to get. Geneva can stay on the upswing. Palmac needs to turn things around. Brendan Harrington and Tony Robinson will be on the call Friday night in Geneva, 7:30. Don't miss us. Newark travels to Waterloo. Penn Yan's at Minders. Last year, Penn Yan came into Minders and really had the game in hand heading into the fourth quarter. They slowed it down, and that kind of backfired. Minders snuck away with a win. Jake Jones had a big night from the field. So we'll see what happens there. Romulus at Honeoye. Marcus Whitman at South Seneca. Red Jacket at Naples. And Bloomfield at Dundee. We'll see if Bloomfield fares better in Dundee than Naples did last week. And then Saturday, 3 games on the schedule. SOTUS at Lions. Newark at Honeoye Falls Lima. And Palmac at Canandaigua. They hosted and lost to Canandaigua back in November. So they return in the favor. So what do we have here? Oh, man, we still have about 15 minutes. Perfect, because we want to talk sectional standings. Now, for those of you listening who might want to just quick primer on how things work in high school sports or Section 5 basketball in particular, is you play in your leagues, Finger Lakes East, Wayne County, and Finger Lakes West, and then, of course, there's leagues all over Section 5. In the Finger Lakes leagues, East and West, they're generally defined by school size. So a lot of the bigger schools are in the East. A lot of the smaller schools are in the West. Wayne County is a little bit of a mixed match, but most of those teams in Wayne County are actually Class C teams. So you play in your league, but as you play out of league, in league, every game you get sectional points added or taken away depending on wins or loss. If you play a bigger school, you get more points. If you play a smaller school, you get less points for the victory and take more of a chance of losing sectional points with the loss. And then you keep the sectional standings through all the classes. When the postseason comes, you play your tournament within your class, and then each class winner represents Section 5 in moving forward towards the state playoffs. And so actually the cutoff is 9 teams. So if there's 9 teams grouped in a certain grouping, that's enough for one particular classification. If there's less than that, then you're going to be bunched in with either the next highest or lowest. So it changes from year to year based on enrollment. Are they called the beds numbers of the school districts? And in this particular year, last year there was a Class B1 and B2, and Newark won the Class B1 sectional title. And Minders was in B2. Now it's all just one. It's one big 17-team Class B. And in Class C, for example, there's C1, C2, and C3. So smaller, easier to win a sectional title. But it's all based on the numbers. It's kind of luck of the draw. It's kind of unfair in a way based on, the year that you're coming through the program as a high school student, how difficult your section's going to be, your classification. But not only how difficult it's going to be, but the size of it. You might have to play, you're competing against, in Class B, 17 teams. In the C classes, you're competing against, 9, 10, 11 teams. So let's give you an update, though, is how the sectional point standings stand now. And what you want to do is you want to get up near the top so you can host a home game, because right up until the semifinals, the home team hosts, the higher seed hosts these games, and a higher seed also generally gets a bye in a lot of these classes. So let's take a look. Start out in Class AA. No Wayne Finger Lakes teams in Class AA. And Fairport has been one of the top teams in Section 5 the past several years. Aquinas, UPrep. Now, Newark played UPrep, and they played okay. Again, they lost, but they kept it within reach. So it's always fun when, to play a team like that and see how you stand up. These Class AA schools a lot of them are private, so they're not classed that way because of their enrollment, but because of the quality of play that they've exhibited over recent history. So Aquinas, UPrep, Bishop Kearney, Bishop Kearney sends players like Chinoso Oboko and Harris, or Thomas Bryant to Indiana. And there's Victor, former Finger Lakes East Victor in Class AA. So let's get down to some classifications with Wayne Finger. Actually, not yet. A1. Take a look at there. Canandaigua, former Finger Lakes East school, is currently at 7. Rhonda Coit's head coach won his 400th win this weekend, I think, or this past week. But they're 8-0. Now you get down to Class A2, and this is always a tough task for Geneva and Wayne. And it used to be Newark. Newark just barely sliding under that enrollment number that they need to be in Class B instead of A2. And it's a lot easier not going to say it's a lot easier, but generally easier to win a sectional title in B than A. So in A2, Geneva did it a few years ago. We'll remember. First one in a while. But there's that Northeast Douglas College Prep, so they're number one in the sectional standings, and Newark beat them. Oh, wait, did Newark beat them? No, Newark didn't beat them. They beat Palmac. I get confused with a lot of these charter schools. Plus, I'm very, very tired. It's been a long holiday break. But Wayne sitting up there at number 3 with Batavia, in Geneva at 8. So is Wayne a contender in A2? Why not? I think they are. I think they might have been the most overlooked team here on the Upstate Hoops Podcast and Finger Lakes One Sports heading into the season. Better than we thought. Now here we go. Class B, which is essentially the Finger Lakes East and others. Minders at the top spot at 10-0. They got to be the favorites at this point to win Class B. And you got to wonder at 10-0 if they have potential to move beyond that. Of course, they haven't won a sectional title since Brandon Pasolacqua did it. Did they beat Lions? Then they beat Lions in the playing game. Either way, man, my memory's foggy if I don't kind of research it and write it down before the show. But there's Mid Lakes. And number 2 in Livonia, traditionally difficult, and Newark. So 3 of the top 4 teams in Class B are coming right out of the Finger Lakes East. Now there's early college at number 5. The spoilers, early college. A lot of people think they shouldn't be in Class B. They think they should be up in A with the U-Preps of the world. And, somewhere in those A classifications. You remember they ended East Rochester's season in the championship game last year of Class C1. I think it was C1. So they bumped them up to B. And part of that's because of the size of the class. 15 teams. But, yeah, early college is the one that all these teams got to look out for. And then you got Attica, Greece Odyssey, and some more Finger Lakes East teams in there with Penn Yan at 8, Palmac at 12, and Waterloo at 14. And then there's Hornell they got a kid named Jake Dunn. They could upset someone. Oh, man, sectionals in Class B is going to be awesome. You're going to get some matchups between these Finger Lakes East teams in the quarters or the semis, or like last year in the finals. So really looking forward to see how that plays out. Then we look at C1. And there's Paul McIntyre's Cougars at number 2. But North Rose Christian is the class of C1. They're the team to beat. And again, private school placed into C1. It's a lot of people don't feel that's fair. But it's how it is. Somebody's going to have to beat them. Will it be North Rose? Will it be Marcus Whitman? Probably the team out of the West with the best shot to, make a run at a sectional title. Just looking at this classification, C1, if you take North Star Christian out of there, C1's very evenly matched all the way down to Bloomfield at 8. Even Red Creek at 13, they're playing better. So, somebody's going to have to upset North Star Christian in C1. Now we take a look at C2, and the East Rochester Bombers currently hold the top spot. Now, there's some good teams in C2, but there's no reason that Lions or East Rochester can't win this tournament in C2. I mean, Pembroke and Calmum up there at 2 and 3, but I think Geneseo's a tough team. You saw what they did at Mid Lakes. Avon, not easy. So that's C2. Now moving to the final C classification. It says C2 there, but it's really C3 that we're looking at. I'm actually going to move that off the screen so it doesn't annoy everybody. This is C3. And Perry at 8-0 is a team mainly standing between Clyde Savannah and a sectional title in C3. I'm sure that some of these other teams will have something to say about that, but if you even get down there to number 7, you see Red Jacket. If Clyde played Red Jacket in basketball, I'm not talking about football. Football, they have some pretty good games. But, I think the line there is Clyde minus 15. So, don't know much about Pavilion or Boulevard Richburg or even Oakfield, Alabama. I do know Perry's good, and I do know Cuba Rushford's tough. But you got Clyde and Perry, and then you got RCMCS, another one of those charter schools. It's a private school. It's got a pretty decent roster. And then you got Marion, South Seneca in there as well. Now we move down to D1. And you got Dundee dropping down to D this year, which is an advantage for them. But, the Mount Morris has beaten Naples twice. You see Naples down there at 8 and Honeoye at 9. HAC way down there at 15. Finney, CG Finney, another private school that traditionally does well. In Class D, York, Jasper Troutsburg, Mount Morris. D1's going to be a tough test for Dundee or Naples or Honeoye. But we'll keep an eye on it. And then when you go down to D2, there's only one school from the Wayne Finger Lakes. And there they are, the Romulus Warriors. There's actually 14 teams in this class. Romulus is in there at 10. Prattsburg, Avoca, traditional strong Class D schools. So, yeah, it's time to start talking about sectionals. Just over a month and a half away, really less than a month and a half away at this point, about 6 weeks till the start of sectionals, maybe 7. And we love to follow those Wayne Finger Lakes teams in sectionals, and it's setting up, especially in Class B and really all the C's right down to D1. There's some local teams with a shot, good shot, favorites. Among the favorites to win sectional titles. And even in A1, or A2, with Wayne. I like Wayne's chances. And Geneva's playing better too. So there's going to be a lot to talk about, a lot to pay attention to as the teams hit the court again this week. But that about wraps it up here for this edition of the Upstate Hoops Podcast here on Finger Lakes 1 TV. Remember, Friday night we're going to be in Geneva, Palmac, Geneva. You can watch it live. Brendan Harrington and Tanya Robinson have the call. It's going to be awesome. So thanks for joining us. Subscribe. Reach out to us on Twitter. Send us pictures. Send us videos. If the game's close at the end of the game, hit record and send us the video. Okay? So we can use it on the show. And we can post it for everybody to see and to these great games. So from our entire FL1 sports team, want to say Happy New Year. I'm Jim Sinacropi, and we're going to see you Friday night in Geneva, and looking forward to it.